Good morning, YouTubers. T-Square Talks. Hope everybody's having a great Sunday. End of the week, end of the weekend, and I'm about ready to start a new week after today. So today I want to take a few minutes to talk about opportunity and the window for opportunity with gold and silver pretty much coming to a close. And the way I want to talk about that a little bit is to kind of make you think a little bit about what happened during the end of Venezuela. As it started, their currency pretty much got wiped out. I want to talk a little bit about Rome, how it was as their currency basically just got devalued to pretty much nothing and ended up ultimately ending to be the fall of the Roman Empire. All the way up to, you look at any civilization, they can only sit on top for so long, it seems like, and then eventually they're toppled. And the reason I want to talk about this a little bit is because I actually had a friend of mine ask me about this yesterday, because he said, he goes, I've been thinking a lot about what you had said about that, and I looked it up, and it's true. Every country, it seems like, they hold power for so long, and then somebody else takes over. And this is a trend that we've seen time and time again, and it never fails. It always happens. No country stays on top forever. We just happen to have the advantage of being on top during our lifetime. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and where that's going to go when opportunity is lost. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. I hope you enjoy the video. If you do, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button for me. Leave me a comment on the video. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. And do not forget, we've got 2 giveaways going on right now, including this one for our members. This happens to be, one for our open to anybody, and then one for our members. So be sure and check that video out from yesterday. This, though, there's only, I think, 11 spots left. You do have to be a member to win this, but this is a $250 coin. You can go on the NGC website, type in that number right there, and it will tell you that the 1987 San Francisco Eagle is extremely limited, and you can't just send one of these in and have it graded. So because now it's essentially, you have to have the whole box in order to verify that it was a San Francisco, or you had to have it sent direct, and you can't do that anymore. So with that being said, if you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment. If you'd like to become a member, only $1.99 right now. Okay, so where do we want to start? So the best place to start probably is with the Roman Empire. I like the Roman Empire because, one, I love history, and really the Romans had an incredible amount of history. The way they pretty much were able to conquer almost everybody around them and just keep expanding their empire. They took in people from different nationalities, and they continued to grow. And essentially, what I believe one of the driving forces of their growth was their money. Their money was gold and silver at the beginning. And as time went on and they expanded, they needed more and more money. And in order to make more and more money, they had to water it down. So they couldn't have solid gold. They go to like 50% gold, then 25% gold. And each time, basically making the currency less valuable outside of its direct area. Yeah, I guess in the city, your currency, people didn't really even know what was going on. But as you moved away from the city, people would look at these coins and they knew right off that, wait a minute, that's not pure gold. And so as they printed more and more money, they seen prices of stuff go up. And there's a lot of stories in history, Roman history, where they had kept records that talked about price controls and how they thought they could control the prices, essentially by saying, if your dad was a farmer, you'll be a farmer. And if your dad was a whatever, you'll be a whatever. Blacksmith, you'll be a blacksmith. Whatever the profession was. And what that was hoping to do was basically keep the supply of each trade moving. But what was happening was Let's say it got too expensive to be a blacksmith, and then they put price controls on it. Well, obviously you can't be in business being a blacksmith if there's no money to really be made in it. And if you fast forward that and compare that today, part of that is already taking place right now. They're discussing price controls, and prices are going up rapidly. And as prices continue to go up, they will eventually probably try to put in price controls. Now, controls have been proven to not work. They never have worked, and they won't work, because no one is going to want to produce, say, chickens if it costs too much to raise chickens, and then you're forced to keep the price of them low. Now, ultimately, supply and demand is what should control the price. If chickens are hard to make, to grow, to raise, to butcher, then obviously there would be a higher price for them. Or if the price gets too high, people just wouldn't buy them. The truth of the matter is, if you're willing to pay something for something, then you should be able to buy it. We'll use another example like hamburger meat versus steak. I'm a big steak eater. I love steak. In fact, I recently just got in trouble with my doctor for wanting to. I eat steak every day, and I really don't want to change that. However, I am trying to incorporate more vegetables and fish. I was told fish. I was like, how about pork? Nope. How about chicken? Prefer fish, is what they say. So, but with that being said, if steak gets to be just too expensive, we'll just say steak, right now I can go buy a couple of steaks for $15. They're not expensive steaks. They're not big steaks. They're just decent. I call them decent, about 1.5 pounds of steak, $15. I can come home, throw them on the fire pit, and boom, eat them right off. As that price goes up, less people will be able to afford it. And then it will basically, I'll say, price out people. A lot of people that can't afford it just won't be able to buy it. And that's normal. And then the farmers will have a choice. Either they do something else, they stop producing it, or they find a better way to produce steak. If not, a lot of people will be eating hamburger. Maybe they'll take a bunch of steaks and change it over to hamburger. And steaks will just continue to go up in price. Now, if the government comes out and says you can't sell steak for over, we'll say $15 a pound. I don't know exactly the price where everybody is right now, but let's say they come out and say $15 a pound is the max you can sell steaks for. What is a butcher or the guy that raises them going to do? I mean, he can't sell the steak at that point for $15 a pound, or he's going to lose money. No one is going to produce something at a loss and expect they're going to still sell it. They will close down. Now, see, in Rome, they tried basically in the old days to say, no, you couldn't close down. That wouldn't fly today. I'm not convinced that they could implement anything that would force someone to keep doing a trade that they're losing money. Now, they could go and try to subsidize it, which governments have tried practices like that. However, all that does is increases the debt. Anytime the government tries to spend money to control something, free market really is the only answer. Let the people decide what they're willing to pay for something. If the price goes too high, people won't buy it. I mean, I hear some people tell me there's a restaurant that I personally frequent. However, I only go there. I'm not going to say the restaurant's name, although some of y'all may know if you've been following me for a while. Some people tell me, some of my friends, I think they're too expensive. It's not worth the money that you spend to eat there. Now, me personally, I love the place. I go there once a week, once every 2 weeks, and I get the lunch special, which is not that expensive. However, people want certain items off the menu. If you're ordering menu items, you're going to pay a little bit more. And then I think it would be expensive. But as time goes on, people may find that certain items are just too expensive and they no longer will buy it. And when they stop buying something, that's normal. That's the way it's supposed to work. We'll take silver, for instance, now, since this is mostly, I do talk a lot about silver. When it comes to silver, the price of silver that's sitting right now at $32.40 is relatively cheap. Why do we know it's cheap? It's cheap because a lot of people are willing to pay more than that for it. I mean, right now, a lot of you guys are paying, $35, $36, maybe even $37 an ounce. Now, some will say, oh, yeah, but that's the premiums. You can call it whatever you want. When people are willing to pay something, then that really is the price. And if people aren't willing to sell it for $32.40, then that's not the price. I mean, yeah, that might be the price that they say it is on paper, but that's not the actual physical price. And it's important that you guys realize this because the paper price of silver sitting at $32.40 is way undervalued, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions. And that's why there's a deficit every year. Every year, they are basically selling more silver than they can produce, than they produce that year. So we're eating in to the savings account on silver, essentially. So silver, you take a look at how much silver is in their stockpile, the COMEX, and we're basically tapping into that year over year over year. And that's happening everywhere. People are buying up silver. Why? Because they recognize that silver is undervalued right now, and that's going to continue to happen. And as it happens more and more, it will eventually have to drive up the price or they'll run out. And once they run out, that kind of really changes the game because all of a sudden, if they run out, everybody will know it's undervalued. And once everybody realizes it's undervalued, a lot of currency will flock into it and it will drive the price extremely high. And it won't matter what the spot price is. Because if they're saying the spot price at that point is, say, 35 and people are willing to pay $50, $60 for it, it will not matter. Now, the question will come up, well, if someone says something's worth $35, why would anybody want to pay more for it? Because people recognize that it's manipulated. You take something like this. I'm going to show you guys right here. You take something like this. This is just a silver dime. And I've had people try to argue with me that because it's a dime, it's just a dime. The dime, yes, it is a dime. However, what this dime is made out of is worth more than a dime because it's silver. And silver and gold is just that. It's going up. It's going up in price. The more money they print, the more it's worth. You could take this right here, a silver dollar, silver eagle, and say, well, that's just $1. Why? Because it says it's a silver dollar. I'm pretty sure they still say dollar on them. Let's take a look here. Yeah, $1 right there. Okay. So I was like, man, I hope they still say dollar. Who knows? But with that being said, you have to understand more and more people are waking up to this. So as they do, the price will continue to climb and the opportunity to get in will be over. And once it's gone forever. And the idea of when the U.S. is no longer the top dog, because there are a lot of countries that are moving against the dollar right now. And it's sad because I'm an American and I've basically enjoyed the advantages of having the world reserve currency, the advantages of being on top, are slowly winding down. And when they're gone forever. You could take a look at multiple different countries that have been on top for a while and now they're not. Spain was on top for a while. Britain was on top for a while. You had Asia on top for a little while. You can go all the way back, and as you go back, you'll see that a lot of these being on top only last 80, 100 years at most. Well, how long have we been on top? If I had to say an exact time period, I would say that we have been on top since the end of World War I. That was what put us on top. I shouldn't have said the W word, though. YouTube doesn't really like that. But we've been on top since that time period. And as you look at that, is our time numbered. Our days numbered now for being on top. More and more people moving against us. And a lot of it has to do with the expansion rule. You know, when countries try to expand, they try to do all these special programs for their people. They try to start watering down their money. They print new money. And all of a sudden, you're no longer on top. You know, the money, the strength of the dollar is what gives us the strongest advantage. Now, I've said in multiple videos, hopefully the U.S. is not basically advertising everything they're doing. Hopefully they're buying gold and not telling anybody. And we just assume Fort Knox is empty now. Because if the day comes that we find out that Fort Knox is empty, that is going to be very bad for everybody. And now I know some people have said, you're giving them way too much credit if you think they're buying gold and silver on the sly. They can't even get along, let alone come up with a plan like that. But it is possible, and hopefully that's what's happening. But who knows? You know, so we're going to see. And unfortunately, anytime you have a transition from one superpower to another superpower, it never ends well. It almost always ends in conflict. How big of a conflict? Well, that can vary. So, excuse me. So with that being said, that's going to wrap up today's video. It's something to think about, and the reason I say that is because I just want to make sure people are really being open to silver and gold. Not just as a hedge against inflation, as an insurance policy, as a means to prepare for some kind of major event, as just a way to save money even. You know, these are all reasons why you would want to have a certain amount of silver and gold. How much silver and gold, that entirely depends on you and what you are preparing for. For some, you know, a small amount could be enough. For others, maybe they want more. Age has a lot to do with it. As you get older, you probably not going to be able to go to work if all of a sudden America changed and you had to go to work. Social Security out the window, any kind of retirements out the window, the stock market collapses, who knows? These are all things that would basically greatly affect your well-being. You know, if you don't have the money to feed your family, yourself, and you had to go back to work, are you capable of going back to work? Some people with disabilities, some people with age are not able to. So you don't want to be left high and dry. And that's why I tell you guys, I would consider getting yourself some precious metals, a little bit of it under your belt. So with that being said, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you are considering becoming a member, there's a lot of perks to it. Like I said in the beginning of the video, it's only $1.99, plus all your comments go directly to my phone. I'm not replying to a lot of comments right now, only because I'm in the process of running 2 giveaways, so I'm making the list. And once I put the reply, congratulations, your comment was entered into the giveaway, then that pretty well locks you in there. If you're a member, you're already in the giveaway. So good luck to everybody, and I will see you guys again on T-Square Talk. Take care, everybody, and have a great day. Bye-bye.